Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, the political will for strong and timely action to tackle climate change impacts resonates well with the Second Republic's clarion call as driven by His Excellency, the President, Comrade Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, who has urged Parliament to enact the Climate Change Act expeditiously. The President's imploration to combine economic growth and climate responsibility should guide Parliament's oversight responsibility, particularly in executing the Paris Climate Change Agreement provisions, inclusive of achieving Zimbabwe's 43% per capita emission reductions by 2030 through Zimbabwe's nationally determined contributions, popularly known as the NDCs. His Excellency's injunction reminds us that protecting the planet we live in is just as critical as growing our economies, if not more so. At this juncture, I am reminded of the instructive observation of the American scientist, Professor Guy McPherson, who affirmed that, and I quote, "If you really think that the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money and see whether you're going to reach number 100 if you've got $100. If you really think that the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money." Unquote. Equally, this looks like only Honorable Tony, his neighbor, who has understood the quotation. Try to fight the impossibility of the effects of lunch, because now we are fighting with the digestion, yeah? But create the digestion of the mind. Equally, is it possible for members of Parliament to hold their breath while climate change impact ravages our environmental ecosystem? Should we be holding our breath and say, Zimbabwe, Ziwanikwa, Zimbabwe, imvelo, nasiyani yahamba. Never, never, never. Hence the poignant criticality of this workshop. That is why on the legislative front, we must collaborate with the executive. I repeat that. We must collaborate with the executive. Sometimes we have got this funny feeling of attitude. The executive is there. We, Parliament, are here. We are one government. We are one country. We are one nation. We are one sovereign state. That should be our attitude. Just like the hands, the feet, the head play different roles but they constitute one body. And so, if the brain doesn't tell the feet to move, the feet will not move. Yeah? In addition to the enactment of the carbon credits trading regulations through Statutory Instrument 150 of 2023, Cabinet approved the Climate Change Bill principles, paving the way for the drafting of the bill, which should be enacted into law expeditiously. This bill will be any historic milestone in climate action legislation, which should be enacted by His Excellency the President, as it will, among other things, integrate the fragmented climate change mitigation and adaptation actions in our national development planning and budgeting processes, as well as the operationalization of the climate fund. Furthermore, the climate law will regulate greenhouse gas emissions, facilitate low carbon development technologies, and carbon trading mechanisms. In view of the foregoing, parliamentarians must not only legislate for climate action and scrutinize how the government responds to climate change issues, but must also hold all ministries, departments, and agencies of government totally accountable for their actions and/or inactions in climate change impact response efforts. That's our responsibility as outlined in Section 119 of our Constitution. Honorable members, it is instructive to note that without climate finance, it will be a mammoth task to succeed in reducing greenhouse gas emissions to the same level as the natural absorption capacity of these gases. According to the African Development Bank, the financial costs of climate change in Africa are stupendous, with the continent losing between 7 to 15 billion United States dollars a year due to the effects of climate change. This figure is projected to rise to 50 billion in 2050. Africa, which accounts for just 3% of the greenhouse gas emission, is the least prepared to cope with these devastating climate change disastrous impacts. What is also of grave concern is that the latest estimates by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change demonstrates that Africa will heat up faster than any other region of the world, and yet Africa receives only 3% of mitigatory funding, amounting to 18 billion per year, against a requirement of 125 billion per year. Now, in the same vein, we must applaud the approval of the Loss and Damage Fund for Developing Countries, concluded at the COP28 in Dubai, which heralded a major success in the concretization of the modalities of that fund. The fund support will be provided in the form of